Hey, I'm Chris Clary with Interact Digital, and this is the AI Hustle. Today, we're going to talk about what it means when work stops feeling like work, or the future of work and AI, something along those lines. So Theo Vaughn and Sam Altman had this conversation that really stuck with me really recently. I mean, it wasn't about robots taking over or AI destroying humanity. It was about something quieter. What happens when the idea of work shifts itself or starts to shift? So I pulled a few clips that I think show how weird this moment really is and what it might mean for normal people trying to make sense of it.
I assume there will be some version of it that is. I think it's very hard to predict exactly how something evolves. Or predict exactly what the jobs of the future are going to be. Like not that long ago, it would have been very hard to predict either of our jobs. If you go back 100 years, the idea of like this CEO of an AI company or a podcaster, probably would have been things that didn't seem to be the most obvious evolutions of the things people were doing at the time.
So I think Sam's right. 100 years ago, a podcaster and AI CEO would sound like science fiction. But here's what he doesn't say. Most of those new jobs that appear, they're not spread evenly. When work shifts this fast, the winners are usually the people who can move quickly, who have time, education, and access to the new tools. For everyone else, the new jobs we can't imagine. It sounds like less like a promise than more like a dare. I mean, if history repeats itself, AI will not erase work. It'll just make the gap between people who can adapt and the people who can't a lot wider. And maybe that's the part we really need to be preparing for in all of this.
People used to say like, oh, there's no need for more music. We've made perfect music. Like, why does anyone need anyone to create anymore?
Yeah.
And that's obviously ridiculous.
And so that's a great point. Creativity never really stops, but it does get reshaped by technology. We didn't stop making music after the synthesizer, but we did stop needing an orchestra to make a song. Every tool lowers a barrier, and that's beautiful. But it also changes who gets paid for creativity. So yes, or who gets paid for creative output. So yes, people will always make music or stories or art, but in a world where AI can flood the internet with infinite versions of the work, the hard part really won't be creating, it'll be getting noticed. Or maybe it'll be coming up with ideas and the creative inspiration itself. So limited amounts used to make art valuable. I think now it's attention. Like, it's not because it's good or it fits the theory or it's something that tells a certain story to a certain class. Now it's about how many eyeballs, and maybe it always was, really. Like, it was about interest and how much interest you could drive.
Human creativity seems basically limitless. The Industrial Revolution, people were like, oh, we've just figured out how to automate like man's lot in life. There's nothing left to do. We figured out new stuff to want.
So that's the line that sounds optimistic. We'll figure out new stuff to want. But think about what that actually means. The Industrial Revolution didn't just make life easier, it also made life faster. We didn't stop working, we just started producing and consuming more. We built entire economies on wanting things we didn't need. I mean, have you been to a Buc-ee's? We do these things just to keep the system running. So yeah, I mean, maybe AI will help us. It'll help us find new stuff to want. But at what point do we start asking if the goal should even be more wanting? Maybe the real challenge won't be what do we do next. It's, can we stop chasing the next thing long enough to enjoy what we already have?
Someone asked me the other day, like, how long is it until you can make like a AI CEO for OpenAI? And I was like, probably not that long. And they were like, well, aren't you really sad about that? And I was like, no, I think it's awesome. I'm for sure going to figure out something else to do.
I actually love his answer, and that he's excited to find something new to do. I mean, that's great. Like, we create things for ourselves to do. We get jobs, we build things, move on to the next thing. It's the heart of any creator. But I mean, it's easy to say when you have that job and you're positioned well and you're the CEO of the company building the thing that might replace you and a bunch of other people. So for most people, figuring out something else to do, it's not really that inspiring. It's terrifying. I mean, I started my career in communications. I've been in communications for a long time, and I think of the developers and the writers and the designers, the web designers that built careers. And now I can do so much of the work all by myself with just my computer. I mean, it's lonely. And if you're holding one of those jobs, it could be terrifying. I mean, our sense of identity is tied to our work. And when that gets shaken, it's not just about money, it's about purpose. So maybe the bigger question is, what new jobs will exist? I mean, what happens when work stops being the main way people find meetings? Because if AI really does take over a lot of the things we had to do, we're going to have to get better at figuring out what we want to do and how to live in a world where usefulness isn't the same as value. So what I really like about this conversation between Theo and Sam, and I totally recommend that you go back and listen to the whole thing. It's a great conversation. It's enlightening and it's funny. So Theo Vaughn I think is always good for a laugh. But what I like about the conversation is that it doesn't end with answers. It just shows us how messy the future is really going to be. I mean, yes, we will adapt. We always do. Humans do. They grow, they change, they adapt. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And it's especially for the people who don't get to decide what adapting even looks like. I was working as a communication strategist at Kennedy Space Center when the space shuttle shut down. And that was like a small example of the evolution that I think we as a culture and humans are about to go through. And there will be the other side, and we'll make it on the other side. But we have to create jobs, and we have to really get to a place where we make this decision about what's human and what's AI and what's important to us and what we're going to keep. Because AI will create new jobs. People say that, and I believe them, and it probably will. But and everyone is going to get a seat at that new table automatically. That part, that's up to us.